16 years of wonderful, wonderful time of my life. Together with my baby here, it has just been incredible. I could not ask for more.
Yes, good afternoon. I don't know if it is good afternoon or good evening, everyone. I'm so grateful to be here and to be sharing this. As my baby said, we are not experts, but we will learn together. First of all, we want to give some definitions about what is emotional intimacy. Ashley said emotional intimacy is often described as a sense of closeness or connection that you have with your spouse that allows you to express those really personal feelings that you won't divulge to anybody else, communicating your insecurities, expectations, goals, and how you need to be loved. The next one is emotional intimacy is a closeness between a man and a woman that involves trust, mutual understanding, and without secret and criticism. Each feels comfortable being vulnerable with their true feelings, dreams, and struggles. That is by Cramsey. The last one is emotional intimacy is a connection that goes beyond the physical. It bonds two individuals emotionally, mentally, and some might even say spiritually. When you see these definitions, there are things which come back. It is closeness and connection. These are keywords which we can talk about. Whenever you talk about emotional intimacy, you talk about being close and being connected. I don't know if you have heard some couples, stories of couples who have been living together for 10 years, 15 years, even 20, who one day wake up and say they are not sure they know the person they are married to. Or you have had a friend who comes and tell you, I don't feel connected to my husband anymore. Or even yourself, you have said it. And you wonder what has happened to our passion, our love. You wonder if you have fallen out of love for each other or if you are no longer compatible. But this is what was the problem in all that. It is the emotional intimacy is suffering somewhere. This is some of the things we talk about.
Now we look at what is God's desire. After looking at the definition, which was clear that, as my baby has said, that there has to be connection, there has to, and that connection sometimes it lacks. Now we want to see what is God's desire. You know, in Genesis 2, verse 24 to 25, 24 and 25, it says, that is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh. Adam and his wife were both naked and they felt no shame. When we look at this scripture, there are many things we can see here that God is talking about. You know, first we can see that Adam was alone in the beginning. Okay, he was alone in the beginning until a suitable helper was created for him, until a spouse was created for him. Then is given this. Then God gives this command that, you know, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife. So the man was alone in the first place. Then we also see that in God's eyes, he needed to be united. Adam needed to be united with one who could bring joy and meaning to the emotional, spiritual, physical aspects of his life. You know, the same to the woman. You see, here in the beginning, God was setting up, you know, the institution of marriage. He was setting up where a man and a woman, they will leave their parents, they will be able to be united and start a new family. Not just start a new family, but they will be united and be able to walk this journey of life emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Because this life is not easy, and it's not good to be alone. God said it's not good for man to be alone. You see, we also see companionship right here. You know, one who would share his journey on earth. There has to be a companionship. The journey in this world is long. It's longer than a marathon. You know, it's years and years. And God sees that, hey, man and woman should be together so that they can have that companionship. They can share. That companionship means sharing things together. You know, the husband should no longer depend on his parents for emotional and physical support. Instead, he is to depend on his wife. Likewise, the wife is also to depend on the husband to do the same. You know, when we get married, we stop depending on our parents. Yes, we can go back for advice. We can go out back for input. We can go back for different things. But when it comes to deep emotional needs and physical needs and even spiritual needs, we are supposed to be able to work together, be together with one another and help each other in this long journey called life. You know, and in Genesis 2, verse 23, it says, then the man said, this at last, according to ESV, English Standard Version, then the man said, this at last is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. I mean, when you hear the man saying, you know, Adam saying, you know, this at last is bone of my bone, what comes to mind? You know, what comes to mind? You know, let me read this, then I'll continue. Songs of Solomon says in 2 verse 10, it says, my beloved spoke and said to me, arise, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me. When I hear this at last is born of my bones, this at last, to me, there's excitement. There's like, wow, finally, there's someone who, you know, who looks like me. You know, when he was seeing animals going 2 by 2, you know, husband and wife, you know, female and male going 2 by 2, 2 by 2, he must have felt lonely. He must have felt like, wow, you know, there's no suitable partner for me. But when finally, you know, the woman was created, he said, wow, finally, at last. You know, this is how we need to be excited about each other. That at last I got the partner of my life. At last I got the source of my life. Finally, there's someone that I can walk this journey with. And then also I see aloneness, you know. Yes, he was alone, but now he's excited. So he was lonely, but now he's no longer lonely. Then I also see here that there's oneness. It's from being alone to being together and being one, because the two shall become one. That's what God says. You know, the two shall become one. We see security and safety. When a husband and a wife come together, they should be able to provide safety and security for each other. And this cannot come if there is no intimacy. If there is no intimacy, there will be no security. In fact, when your spouse is late at work, you'll be thinking, who is he talking to? Who is she talking to? Where did she pass by? You know, why did you come late? There'll be a lot of insecurity if there is no intimacy. You know, emotional intimacy is very important, and that emotional intimacy is very powerful. We see in Song of Solomon, I mean, here he's saying, my beloved spoke and said. There's communication. And not only communication, he's saying, you know, arise, my darling. You know, there's romance in there. And then he says, my beautiful one, meaning is also the words of affirmation. There's, you know, you are my beautiful one. Come with me. You know, let's walk this journey. I want to be with you. We want to be together. I miss you. You know, I long for you. This is what emotional intimacy is all about. It's about communication. It's about praising one another. It's about words of affirmation. It's about being together, saying, hey, let us spend time together. Let us talk. Let us walk together, because I am excited when I'm with you. When I'm not with you, I feel lonely. I miss you. You know, I want that oneness. I want that togetherness. You know, loneliness was never God's plan for marriage. You know, this is what I can conclude with these scriptures here, that God did not plan for us to be lonely. It was never his that man or woman. So in marriage, we have found a partner. In that partnership marriage, that institution called marriage, we should not feel lonely. You know, you can have physical aspect of life. Yes, you can be able to have sex, for example, but you may not, if you don't have that emotional connection, then it's just you're doing it as a duty instead of really being connected and enjoying, being excited about it, feeling secure in the institution of marriage. You know, why emotional intimacy? We may ask, why should we have emotional intimacy? An emotionally connected couple is able to share their feelings and thoughts freely with each other. He seeks your confidence and you seek his. You know, you are free with one another. When you are emotionally connected, you share your feelings. You don't hide your feelings. You are open. You care. You don't just say, you know, no, this is my boundary. No, you are free. You know, you share your thoughts because you know you are in a safe environment. You know, you seek each other's confidence and you find each other's confidence. You know, it says here that knowing that your spouse has a deep enough understanding of you to be able to see your point of view increases bond and breeds security. You know, when you know that he understands me, she understands me, it increases bond. When you know they will understand my point of view, even if they don't understand, they will accommodate it. They will think about it, they'll be considerate. Then it increases the bond and it increases security. You will not look for someone else outside to listen to you. You don't talk to your workmate for emotional understanding, for emotional intimacy. No, you will find emotional intimacy in your spouse, within the house. Why? Because you know they understand. You'll find security. You know, emotional intimacy is what sets the stage for you to truly know your spouse. And it makes it easier to talk about marital conflicts when they arise. Sounds easy, isn't it? Wrong. It doesn't sound easy. It's not easy at all. To be able to set that stage, to have a conducive environment that you can be able to talk, you can be able to share, even if you have marital conflicts. Let me tell you, if there is no emotional intimacy, you cannot share the marital struggles, even your views of what you're going on through the marriage that maybe needs help, needs direction, needs correction, needs to be worked upon, or just to be heard. You cannot share if there is no emotional intimacy. So emotional intimacy is very powerful because it helps us to be able to have an environment where we can solve problems when they arise, and the journey of marriage will be able to go smoothly and in a powerful way. You know, fun often accompanies emotional intimacy because each person's presence brings genuine love, genuine joy. You know, when there's emotional intimacy, then there is fun in the marriage. You know, they enjoy the marriage. Joy because in each other. You know, even when one is on the other side of the room, you know, if they wink at you, with a smile, you know you are connected. But if you wink at them or you make a sign and it just goes like, we watch at two, you know there's a problem there, emotional problem. You know, there's no emotional intimacy right there, and we need to work on it. Each person has a sincere interest in what the other is thinking, feeling, and wanting. This is what emotional intimacy brings. It helps you to be able to have a sincere interest on what the other person is thinking, what the other person is feeling, what the other person desires. Why? Because you there's excitement, there's love, there's want, there's desire. You are in there and you are sincerely invested. So when you have emotional intimacy, then you know very well that you always want to listen to your partner, you always want to know what they feel, and you always want to know what they desire. Okay, if I may continue. Here is Stanbachs' triangular theory of love. This theory of love is Stanbachs is actually a very professional counselor. He's a professor, and he's the one who came up with this. He put there the three circles or three sides, can be even a triangle. There's commitment, there's passion, there's intimacy, and these things have different combinations, bring different outcome. But for us as marrieds, the best outcome is consummate love. Consummate love. That's what we want. If I may show it in a different angle, you can see right here in this one that, hey, you can have intimacy and you have commitment, but you lack passion. Then if you lack passion, then all you have is companionate. But if you lack commitment, but you have intimacy and passion, you have only romantic love. You don't have consummate love because there is no commitment. In marriage, these three must be there. This is what I'm trying to say. You must have passion. You must be passionate about each other. You must be intimate about each other. You must have commitment to each other. Then you will have the center one, which is consummate love. The three of them must be there. If intimacy is missing, then what you'll find is that you only have passion, which is infatuation, and commitment, which brings fatuous love. You lack intimacy. You just go through the things, through the emotions, but really as married people, we must have all these three. God desires for us to have consummate love. God desires for us to be intimate with one another, to be passionate with one another, and to be committed to each other. If we lack emotional intimacy, we will withdraw from this triangle being complete. Signs of emotional disconnect. Here, we are talking about how can you know that you are emotionally disconnected? What are some of the signs? So, preoccupation with work. If you find yourself too busy or occupying yourself too much, more than necessary, you want to remain at work longer, you want to remain longer than going home to be with your spouse, then you know that there is an emotional disconnect somewhere. That is a sign. Preoccupation with financial expectations at home or of the home or family. This is mostly for men. If you're mostly preoccupied on how you will meet your financial end of the bargain, of the deal, how you'll be able to make money, and how it's only just money, how can we be able to make finances and family work? And you are leaving your spouse, your wife on the side, you are ignoring her. That's a sign of emotional disconnect. Preoccupation with the needs of caring for the home, children and friends. This is mostly for women. If you're just preoccupied, even when your husband comes home, you say, hi, honey, bye. It's just hi, honey, and that's it. And you're busy with the kids, you're busy with this, and you don't create time. You don't even feel like talking or spending time with your spouse, finding out the day, finding out how things are. Then you know that if there's emotional disconnect right there. Okay? Electronic distractions. This is big. Social media, text messages, TV. If you are too much on the screen, too much on media, social media, more than spending time with your spouse, even just talking to them, then know that there's emotional disconnect right there, most probably. Now, this emotional disconnect brings a lot of things. Before a couple realizes it, they have no time or energy to connect because you are too busy with work, you're too busy looking for money, or you're too busy with the children. By the time the children retire to bed and you go to rest, you are too tired. You don't have energy anymore. Then you wonder, what is going on? It's because there's emotional disconnect. You are not thinking ahead and creating time, 30 minutes, a day, to spend time with your spouse. So that's a sign right there. When we are more attentive to the messages we receive from these platforms than hearing from our spouse, we have embraced an enemy to emotional intimacy. What I'm saying here, what we are saying here is that when you are listening more or spending more at work, listening more to your workmates, spending more with your former your former classmates, spending more on gadgets, spending more on social media than listening to your spouse, then know that an enemy of emotional intimacy has come in and is eroding your emotional intimacy. Because naturally, we are supposed to spend time with our spouses. If let's say God was speaking today and was writing the book of Genesis today, where he says, a man will leave his father and mother, maybe he would have said, and the gadgets, and the internet and all these things, because these things, the technology really takes us away, so we are not just to leave our parents, and the sign of leaving our parents and being united to our spouses, because parents is the highest point, means anything else should not separate us. In fact, Jesus says, let nothing put you asunder. What God has joined together, nothing should separate. So that is very clear. Okay, and then now there are psychological causes of lack of intimacy. These ones I'll just go through them very quickly. There's anxiety. Sometimes you wonder, how can I be intimate with my spouse? Sometimes it's because you have psychological problems and you may need to see a counselor. There is anxiety, may be one of them. So you are anxious, and when you are anxious, you can't really create. You are afraid. How will it go? Will I be accepted? What will they think? Will they change me? Will they listen to me? Will they want me to change? Can I be accepted just the way I am? And then there's fear of abandonment or engulfment. Basically, you are afraid of rejection. You think, if I'm vulnerable, if I'm free and vulnerable, then what if I'm rejected? So you are afraid of rejection, so you don't give room for emotional intimacy or intimacy in general. And then there's engulfment. This one basically means extreme distress and anxiety related to feelings of being taking over. You are just afraid. You are afraid of being controlled. You are afraid of being dominated. You are afraid to lose yourself in a relationship. You are just thinking, man, and this is mostly because of created by, since childhood. If you are raised in a relationship, in a family relationship where there was a lot of enmeshment, you find that you grow in a certain way that you are afraid of relationships. You are afraid to give yourself fully. And if this might be one of the cases, then seeing a counselor or a psychologist will really help, because they can help you draw out the issues and then deal with them. Then you'll be able to be free to be truly intimate with your spouse. Manifestation of this is that you lack commitment in a relationship. You have an inability to express feelings. Relationship sabotaging behavior. You tend to portray this, where you are in constant criticism or nitpicking. You are always just bringing issues, or you are always sabotaging relationships. You can't keep them, and you wonder, am I the problem? You want to have a relationship, but you can't have it. It may be because of psychological causes, which may need counseling or psychological help.
Causes of disconnection. I know my husband has talked about what the ways and what God thinks about emotional intimacy. Now I want to talk about the causes now of disconnection. Why do we feel disconnected? Some of the reasons we feel disconnected, it is because we don't have trust. Trust is faith, belief, hope, confidence. When there is lack of trust, we are saying that we no longer believe in that person, the person we are married to. Mm-hmm. Even when your spouse tells you have something, you have question marks, you don't believe completely in what they say. And the lack of trust kills connection. If, for example, as he said, your spouse tells you he will be working until late, sometimes you can say, is he really true? Is he at work, or he's meeting someone, or he's doing other things? When he comes home, because you have that in mind, that maybe it is not true what he said, then the connection is killed. Mm-hmm. You don't give yourself fully. A second one is insecurity caused by low self-esteem. You feel you don't measure up, you are distant from your spouse, and you feel like there's something amiss in me. If, for example, you feel you are not beautiful, and you go with your spouse to church and you see your spouse, for sisters, we see our spouses talking to other sisters, laughing, joking. You feel like, he's talking to these ones because they are beautiful and me, I am not. And because of that insecurity, you are unhappy. You go home unhappy. And it is because you feel you are not the person you should be. For even brothers, when your wife is more than you and she comes home with, for example, an expensive shirt, you think she's looking down on you. Instead of that being a reason to bond and to connect, because of that insecurity, it kills actually your intimacy. And the third one is lack of or difficulty in communication. Communication is very, very important. It is through it that we understand each other. It is through communication that we connect. If you don't find time to communicate with each other, emotional intimacy is killed. It is not there. It is not only emotional intimacy, even in that place. It is also physical intimacy. The next one is high level of stress or inability to manage stress. This one also is a big one. When we have high stress levels, we can be irritated or we can be fatigued. This will definitely affect our intimacy. It will also affect how we respond to our spouses. Sometimes when you are stressed, you don't even speak well. You are not an encouragement. So in this case, you can take time, breathe in, breathe out, and relax before talking, so that whatever you say will build and encourage. The next one is past disappointment. Don't allow painful past disappointments to define your spouse, especially when they are not dealt with or when they are not brought to conclusion. Keeping records of wrong create a distance between spouses. The next one is constant disappointment, the disagreement and or conflicts. If you are constantly in fight, it is not possible to connect emotionally. You have to deal with the problems, and then you can work on your intimacy after. The next one is not understanding how your spouse connects emotionally. This one is if you don't know your spouse, or if you don't know their love language, it is not easy to communicate emotionally. We have to make an effort to know them, to know what they like, to know how to speak to them emotionally. The last one is health issues. They are generally unforeseen and abrupt. These challenges can destabilize a spouse to the point of drifting from their partner. It takes a lot of maturity, commitment, and love to remain faithful and seek connection with your spouse. I have seen this in my life. My health has not been so well this recent year. I've seen that if I didn't get the support I am getting from my husband, I would not have been really where I am. But when he's there, supporting me even when I am sick, seeing that he's really suffering with me, it gives me some morale, and I can even vacate to my duties without a problem. So we need really to be there for each other to connect emotionally. Otherwise, there is disconnection in our marriage.
If I may say something about health issues and some abrupt issues that come up in marriage. These are things that normally they are, and unfortunately, some marriages tend to suffer more because maybe and then emotional disconnection comes in. The unforeseen, when they come, what we need to remember is our vows. we vowed for better or for worse, for sicker, in health and in sickness. The vows are very, very important during challenges. And if you think about it, when you are when you're just getting married, you're very excited about life. You are very excited about each other, and you're excited about sex, and you're excited about all these things, But when something comes in, maybe you get promotion at work and you become even more busy, or maybe you get you get the children start coming and start becoming busy. And so you can't be able to have that time together. The sex goes down. Maybe sickness comes in, and you can't be able to have physical relationships the way you desire or the way you want it. And challenges come in, or let's say you have pressure of maybe getting a child. You're not being able to get a child, and that pressure comes in, and the family members and the in-laws, they keep on bringing that pressure to your spouse, and to yourself, and they say, hey, get someone else, get someone else, or they tell your spouse, why can't you get a child? Where and they can insult you. And I've had many people insulting, many insults being passed around, not in our marriage, but with other people. And I'm thinking, hey, when all this thing is going around, what can keep you is your commitment to each other and your emotional intimacy. If you are emotionally connected, nothing can be able to take it away, because you long for each other. No matter the situation, you appreciate each other. No matter the situation, you trust one another. No matter the situation, you create security for each other. No matter the situation, you communicate, you talk, you bond. No matter the disappointments, you still wait on God, trust in God, and you pray that let the will of God be done. Because eventually, it is the will of God. We can pray, we can do whatever it takes, but not listen by pressure. Let's not go by homes. If we child, then we break. We have to look for someone else. Be emotionally connected. It is for better or for worse. Don't say, hey, if because now you are too busy at work, I'm not gonna connect with you. No, let us look for that time. 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day. Just look for it. Send a message, send an SMS, think about each other. Show that you are connected and you love one another. It is very, very important not to allow the unforeseen to drive you away. It will only drive you away if you're not emotionally connected. If you meet, all you think about is physical relations, then you're not gonna get anywhere. You must be connected. Where even just holding one another or just touching each other like this, you just feel good. Just seeing your partner just makes you reach the moon. You're just so excited. That's what we are talking about here. Emotional connection, emotional intimacy. Where you are emotionally, you have allowed your partner, you have welcomed them in you. They walk with you, they feel what you feel what they feel, and they see what you see. And even if they don't see it very clearly, but you make effort and you communicate.
Yeah, it is very true what we are saying. There are really causes of disconnection. Let us see that they are not in us, and let us work in a way that we will be connected. We will take 10 minutes, and the question is here on the chat. Have a heart-to-heart talk with your spouse about what you feel are the likely hindrances of emotional connection between the two of you. For 10 minutes, we have a heart-to-heart. We have talked about being open, sharing our feelings, our thoughts, and even our dreams. So let us have 10 minutes talking heart-to-heart to each other and see what can hinder our emotional connection. Bear your feelings.
Basically, when we say bear your feelings, we mean this is not the time to attack when your spouse says, me, I think A, B, C, D is what, you did this, or you said this, or if you could do this, then we can be able to overcome the hindrances, or this is what hinders us. Don't say, hey, why haven't you been saying that? Why No, we bear our feelings. It's for learning purposes and for growing purposes. We want to grow in our emotional connection. And we want just to see if there is any hindrance, even no matter how small it is. It's good to discuss it, and it's good to be able to work a way out so that we can be able to grow in our emotional identity. After the 10 minutes, then we will continue. So let's now 10 minutes, husband and wife. Thank you very much. If you are alone, just think about what might be hindering your connection, emotional connection with your spouse. So it's okay even if you are alone. Down, you can even take time to pray about them and be able to also think on how you can be able to maybe study them out, or even overcome them, or put some few things into practice that can help to grow and overcome the hindrances. Thank you. So let's get back and move on. Yes, here we are. At this time, we'll look at two major elements of emotional intimacy. Okay. When you have emotional intimacy is right there and you are connected, then there are two elements. There are several, but today we'll just talk about two. Two of these elements should be there. One of them is affection, and the other one is friendship. Okay. When you are emotionally connected, you will be affectionate to each other. When you are emotionally connected, you will be friends. You will have developed friendship with one another. Now, when we talk about affection, let's open Romans chapter 12, verse 9 to 10. 9 and 10. Romans 12, verse 9 and 10. New Living Translation says, don't just pretend to love others. Really love them. Hate what is wrong. Hold tightly to what is good. Love each other with genuine affection and take delight in honoring each other. Okay, he says here, don't pretend, don't pretend, to love others. We should not be pretending, and more so in a marriage. We should really love each other. He says here that hate what is wrong, hold tightly to what is good. So you and your spouse should hold tightly to what is good. It should be tight-fisted. Don't let it go. One of the things I appreciate is being married to my spouse. I mean, it was a long journey, during the liking, the fellowship, and the journeys crossing the borders and everything. It was a long journey, and the calls back then, there was no WhatsApp. You would call. I'll have to go to town to be able to call from Norwich Union 4th floor, with internet, and call through Yahoo. I don't know if you know Yahoo Messenger those days. You know, those of us who lived those days, I mean, it was intense, it was hectic. And to call through the booth, you know, where you put the coins, or you buy a card, you know, and then you put the coins. Why go through all that struggle? Because, you know, there is genuine love. There was no pretense right there. You know, there's genuine affection. You know, and I was delighted, you know, to be able to really enjoy that fellowship and to be able to go and build that relationship. So when we talk about affection here, we refer to nurturing or natural love. Nurturing love, whereby if the love is like dwindling, it's like maybe you feel like you're not so connected, then it is time to nurture it. You can nurture it and it will grow. You know, you can nurture it and it will grow. Or if it is natural, the love is you know, this was like a love at first sight. You know, the chemistry is right there. Amen. But don't let it go. You have to keep on building it. The affection has to keep on growing, because if you're not emotionally connected, the affection will not be there. So the affection has to be there for the emotional intimacy to be able to grow and develop. Then here we are also saying that in a marital relationship, this is lived out when one spouse intentionally focuses on expressions of love that are helpful and meaningful to the other person, you know, to your spouse. You have to figure out what is helpful, what is meaningful, because different people are different. Different marriages have different meanings, you know. Different people have different things that really touch them, you know. For some, maybe awful. For another one, maybe just buying a card is incredible. For another one, just saying, "Man, I love you." That's wonders. You know, you'll be able to figure out what is the love language of my spouse. You know, so you have to to intentionally focus on expressing love. You have to know that, hey, you know, I am at work. Let me just send a small message to my spouse. Let me tell my spouse that, you know, I love you, I miss you. You know, I can't wait to be with you home. I can't wait to reach home. You know, something like that. You know, like, hey, you know, last night was wonderful. You know, like, hey, you know, the way you take care of the kids. I mean, that was just incredible. You know, just something that you know, you appreciate. You know, just express to your spouse. You, first of all, it builds communication. Secondly, it shows that you appreciate. Thirdly, it shows that you are touched by it. You know, so your spouse will be able to know what they need to do more, or what makes your juices flow. You know, so you have to figure out what is helpful and what is meaningful to my spouse. Then keep on doing that, so that you keep on building affection, even as you think and explore new ways of building intimacy. And then here we're also saying that we tend to express love the way that we like to receive it, rather than what makes our spouse feel loved. You know, for example, for you, you might feel like, hey, for me, if they just cook a nice ugali ile imeiva tu vizuri, my wife loves me, you know. But no, for them it's different. You know, if you cook for them ugali nicely, they might feel like, okay, you know, you have taken my responsibility. I'm the one who's supposed to be in the kitchen. That's my role. You know, they may take it like that. You know. But if maybe for her it is just some nice words, some words of affirmation, you know, or just spending time, quality time, you know, just say, hey, let's just lie on the bed here, look at the skies, and just talk until, you know, you talk of old times, of old ways, and you know, and they just feel like, wow, you know, my spouse really loves me. This is really affection. This is real love. So you have to figure out, you know, don't expect that because this is how I feel loved, so I must do it the same way. Know your spouse. Find out what shows affection to them, what shows intimacy to them. You know, for my baby here, if we just talk and talk and talk, she will feel loved. Her love tank will be full. You know, sometimes we can just stay in bed, we can reach home, we are tired, maybe she's not feeling well, and you know, we just tell the kids, hey, daddy and mommy are busy, they are spending time, and we just lock the door. When we lock the door, even it may be 5, it may be at 6, it may even be at 7. We just make sure they have homework, they have whatever they're supposed to do, and we just lie there and we just talk. And we talk. We can talk even for 1 hour, you know. And by the end of the talk, I mean, we just feel so connected. She just feels so happy. She feels like, wow, you know, this is wonderful. The other day I was asking her, do we spend preparing this class? Because one of the recommendations is that, hey, take at least 30 minutes every day to talk to your spouse. You know, I was asking her, hey, do we, you know, as we prepare this class, are we even meeting this? You know, she said a big yes. And I was like, wow, you know, I'm encouraged by that. I may be missing in other things, but at least in this one, on spending time, at least I meet her needs right there. I know I fail in other areas and she corrects me and I work on them. But at least on this one, I am grateful that I am able to meet her needs right there. So think of the needs of your spouse and how they would like to be loved. You know, affection as part of emotional intimacy is not about physical intimacy. Okay? Because when we talk about affection, we can quickly think of, hey, emotional, physical intimacy. You know, let's go to the bedroom. Let's go. No. Emotional intimacy, affection in this sense, of course, it also applies in physical intimacy. But in this sense, in emotional intimacy, it's just about being in touch, showing love, expressing compassion. You know, as I shared, it's about quality time. You know, just spending time. It's about words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, physical touch, figuring out what is the love language of my spouse, and speak that language as often as possible. Don't speak your own language. Maybe your language of connection is physical intimacy, and for you, that's all you want, and that's all you want to give as well. No, when you get it, you give, you receive it the way you want, and yes, be connected, but you give it the way your spouse will make her connected to you. So think and think and think. How can I be affectionate with my spouse? How can I be able to express love? I take many photos with my spouse. I love taking photos, and I love holding her. You know, sometimes we reach home and our children are like, you know, I reach home maybe and my spouse is right there, and you know, they especially Samuel, they like saying, hey, daddy's going to kiss mommy, daddy's going to kiss mommy, and then I kiss her on the mouth, and they're like, hey. Then they're like, do it again, and then we do it again. You know, they just feel like, wow, this is wonderful. You know, it's not just they sit on cartoon. No, they even see it physically. You know, as in the dad and mom are in touch, they are connected, they are striving, they are working on it. They may not be right there, but at least what they see is these people love each other. These people are connected. You know, and sometimes we do it even in town, and it's just nice. It's just good to be able to, especially when we have like a marriage function, a marriage meeting. You know, we are teaching a class or something. You know, about connection and all that. You know, and it's just good to be able to, for people to see. You know, that hey, you are connected, and it's good for it to be natural. Don't act it out. No, let it be real from deep down the heart. But speak the language your spouse understands. If I go home and I don't kiss her and I just pass, or I just say hi, I hug and I go, she will feel funny, you know. And I'm like, okay, let me be affectionate here. I'm losing ground here, you know. So let me do it. Now that was affectionate. Now we will talk about friendship. Friendship here in John 15 verse 15, it says, Jesus speaking says, I no longer call you slaves, because a master doesn't confide in his slaves. Now you are my friends, since I have told you everything the Father told me. Jesus says, you know, you are no longer my slave. You are no longer my. I don't call you slaves. I don't call you, you know, no. I call you my friends. You are my friends. Why are you my friends? I have told you everything. Everything I know, everything the Father has told me, everything I know, I have told you. As in, I've shared and shared and shared. I am open with you. I'm vulnerable with you. When I feel sorrowful to the point of death, I tell you. When I feel tired, when I feel, you know, let's go and rest, I tell you. When I feel like, wait, let's go do this, let's go bang doors here, let's go evangelize, I tell you. Whatever I feel like doing, I tell you. So here I want to talk about friendship, referring to regular communication of thoughts, feelings, hopes, and even disappointments between spouses, where you are like, hey, you are my friend, you are my friend. You are not just, when we were getting married, one thing I was sure of is that she is my best friend. That one, I had it down. This is my friend. This is the person I want to walk this journey called life for the rest of my life. And I know in between, challenges come. Sicknesses have come on my side. Sicknesses have come on her side. She has been more sick and sometimes very tired and takes a toll on her for several years. But hey, one thing I know is that with sickness or without sickness, this is the joy of my life. This is the apple of my eye. This is the one I want to walk this journey with for the rest of my life. This is the one who excites me. It's not just acting and saying, hey, let me just hang in there. I don't know what to do. Sina kitu ya kufanya. Now that we are married, siwezi kutoka. No, it's not about I can't live because I'm married. No, it's about, well, even wherever I am thinking about her. I'm dreaming about her. I'm just thinking, wow, because I love my friend. I can't wait to be with my friend. I can't wait to communicate with my friend, because and I want to communicate all my thoughts, all my feelings, all my hopes, all my disappointments, all the challenges I go through. I want to be able to communicate with her. I want her to feel me and to be able to know that, hey, I value her so much and I value her thinking. I value her listening. She may not have answers to whatever I share. I may not have answers to whatever I share, but at least we can share with one another because we are friends and pray. Hold each other and pray together and kneel down and pray and pray and pray and fight it together. Seek for solutions together. This is friendship where you are just communicating. You are open. You are vulnerable. A friend in need is a friend indeed. Be there during sickness and other challenges. Be there. I've talked about this a lot. Be there. Don't say, oh, now I don't know what to do. No, there's nothing like you don't know. You know what to do. We know what to do. We are in a commitment. We are in a marriage. We made our vows, and not only that, we were in love, and we'll continue to be in love. And we continue fighting it. And if we don't fight it, then the love will grow cold. It's like a tree. If we don't water it and prune, it will die. Be like a tree that's planted by the river. You are always getting water. So in season and out of season, you're always bearing fruit. Whether there is sun, whether there is drought, whatever, because the river still flows, you will always be bearing fruit. Be a friend indeed. Be a friend in need. Be there when you are needed. In fact, when there are challenges, that's where when we are needed even more. That's why even our friendship is tested. If you're only a friend when things are okay, in the world, those days when we were drinking and being drunk, it was very easy to have friends when you have money because you can buy. Give them as they are. If it is Primus, give them Primus. If it is Tusker, give them Tusker. Whatever they take as they are. And then the day you don't have money, you don't see anybody next to you. You even ask for bus fare, you don't get it. No, let's not be those kind of friends where only when I am okay, then someone is close to me. Or when my spouse is okay, then I am with them. When they're not okay, I'm not with them. No. Let us be true friends from deep down our hearts. Let us build intimacy and let us grow in our friendship. Friendship should naturally grow and deepen as you spend time together and develop a collection of your own memories and experiences, unique to you as a couple. Every couple develops different memories, and we have to be able to make sure that we grow. Our friendship grows naturally. It grows and deepens. It's supposed to be growing. It's not supposed to stay the way where it is. No, it's supposed to deepen. Even as we collect memories and develop memories. This is all about. Then you can look back, down memory lane and say, hey, look at how we were and where God has taken us today. Look at the challenges we have gone through. Look at what came and was so hard. And today we are still together and even stronger and better friends, despite what happened. Why? Because you are connected. Emotionally, you are connected. You know, you are committed with each other, and we are passionate with one another. We have all the three elements. You know, we have commitment, we have passion, passionate with one another, and we have intimacy right there. And hence, the consummate love will be very present. It is about knowing and being known. Okay? Friendship is about knowing and being known. Intimacy is about knowing and being known. You know, emotional intimacy is about being known. You know, you let your spouse see you inside, not just what people see. No, outside there, you may, you know, when we play basketball or football, you might just think, Tom is fine. You know, Tom is okay. But when I come home, you know, she knows now he has played basketball. Now I need to massage his back. You know, she's the only one who will know that. She knows me, not, you know, inside. So be known by your spouse inside out. You know, don't put your spouse at bar. Don't put her at bay. Don't put her at a distance. Don't say, this is my distance. No, there is no boundary. You are in that inner circle. That's why, because the two shall become one. So the two forms one. They're inside that circle. Everything else is outside, but they are inside that circle. If you can't share with anybody else, at least you can share with your spouse. You can be able to be vulnerable, and you can be known as you let yourself, as you also know your spouse. Be known and let yourself be known as well.
Yes, I pray that everyone here, your spouse is your best friend. If he's not or she's not, maybe we have some work to do. We have to really have them as our best friends, the ones we are open to, the ones who are open to us. We know them and they know us. We need to be there for one another. We need to support one another and have genuine affection for our spouses, as we have learned. Yeah, know his love language, speak it. Know it and speak it. It will help your you to connect emotionally. You don't want to wake up one day and realize that you are married to a perfect stranger. That would be really the disaster in your life. Now we
have some questions here for discussions, but because of time, I want us to go straight into the next. Then we'll come back. We'll finish with the questions, with the discussion. Okay, ways to build emotional intimacy. Now, when you talk about, now we want to look at practicals. How can we build emotional intimacy? Now that, yes, our intimacy may be at 5 out of 10. It may be at 6 out of 10. It may be at 2 out of 10. It may be, you know, whatever it is. But how can we make it better? You know? So as we talk here, we know that, yes, we are somewhere. You know, God has put you somewhere. Maybe you've worked on it, and maybe not. It does not matter. What matters is how can we improve and get it better to where God desires for it to be, where we are so connected. Number one is learn to be vulnerable. Okay? Learn to be vulnerable. We have to learn to be able to talk, to be open, to be free, to be able to say what is really going on inside. Let yourself be known. Learn to be vulnerable. Don't be afraid. If you are afraid, share about it. Number two is build trust. Okay? My wife had talked about this before. So we have to build trust. Build trust by being faithful. Trust is built by being faithful. You know, being faithful, being honest, and saying what is going on. Where you don't say this, you don't say, hey, I'm in Kayole, but you are seen in Kangemi. No, you don't say, hey, I traveled to Mombasa and you're seen in Nakuru, or you are just within. No, build trust by being truthful. Be truthful. Be who you are. You know, spend more time together. You know, be alone together. You know, be alone time. You know, spend more time together. You know, be away from children if you have children. You know, spare some time from work. At least 30 minutes every day. 30 minutes just to talk with you and your spouse. Lock yourself somewhere or go for a walk. You know, as you talk, just hold hands. You know, just look for that time and just start slowly but surely. then get physical. Okay, get physical. You know, have physical relations. You know, touch. You know, sometimes relations. You know, just one another's hands. You know, be able to connect. Be able to, even you may not say much, but at least your bodies are touching one another. You know, so get physical about it. Some spouses don't even hold hands. They find it a challenge to hold hands. You know, but let's learn to be able to get physical, to hold hands, to touch, to hug. When you are meeting, hug each other. You know, don't just say hi. You know, I'm home, honey, I'm home. Is food ready? No. I'm home. Where is that hug? You know, where is that kiss? Learn to be physical, and then express appreciation and gratitude. I've talked about this. You know, send a card, send SMS. So, you know, do something. You know, SMS is very cheap to be able to do that. You know, a great message right there of affection. You know, just send it. It's powerful and incredible.
Yeah, the next one is being positive. There are times when we have hard conversations, but it has not to be every time we talk. Sometimes we are joking, sometimes we are discussing about our day. It doesn't have to be always hard conversations. But if you are not emotionally connected, it will be hard to talk and resolve without fighting. Affirm each other with words that build up. See your spouse as someone good. See your spouse good, not always his negative strength. The next one is being. There is time to talk and a time to be silent. Listening to understand your spouse is very, very important. It makes them feel valued, important, and loved. So listen with questions and encouragement. Comment on what they are saying. Next one is be hopeful. Times are hard and struggles are real. Don't believe the worst in each other, but see hope for change. If you don't see the good in your spouse, you will not see the good in your marriage. The next one is be rested. Many couples give all they have at work to their kids, they give to home, they give to church, and they are left with nothing for each other. This is not something we will advise here. Don't bring to the relationship your worst self when you are tired, stressed, and anxious. But don't be the last thing on the list you bring to your husband or to your wife when you are really finished. No, be fresh and talk and encourage each other, talk about your day and everything. The next one is being free. Put away all distractions when you have to make each other priority. My husband talked about this. Really, don't bring those phones when it is time to talk. The last one is be dreamers. When a couple dream together about their future, they are saying that they are planning to live together for the rest of their lives. That is very good. I love when my husband and I dream. We dream about places we will visit, what we will do in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years if we are still here. And it is nice. Dreaming costs nothing and it bonds us. Please be dreamers together and see yourselves where you will be in the next few years and many years to come.
In conclusion, before we go to the questions, discussion, we finish with the discussion. In conclusion, I have a statement here from Dr. Robert Stanbachs, who created that the three triangle of love. He says, passion quickest to develop and the quickest to fade. Intimacy develops more slowly and commitment more gradually still. So passion is very quick. You can just see someone and be infatuated and all that. But intimacy develops slowly. Passion fades very quickly. You know, you get married and all that, then soon you realize actually this husband of yours, you know, he's throwing socks everywhere. He's throwing dirty clothes everywhere, and you hate that. So it gets onto your nerves. So that passion can quickly go. But intimacy should be developed slowly. It develops very slowly and it lasts long. Commitment is even more gradual, So let us make sure that we are growing in our intimacy. Now, the early stages of our marriage should act as a foundation that we lay for a stable marriage. Where because there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of expectation and all that, there should be a foundation for a stable marriage where we start growing our emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy is very hard to build. It takes years of sustained love and support, embed it into your relationship. So it takes very long. It's not easy, but let me tell you, if you start 1 foot at a time, by God's grace and power, we will be able to make it. Nothing is impossible with our God. Develop emotional intimacy in the early stages of your marriage. So wherever you are at, today maybe you are early stage of developing emotional intimacy. If you are a young couple, that's even better. But even if you're married for 10 years, even 30 years, even 40 years, and you feel like you're not emotionally connected, better late than never. Start being connected today. We can start doing some of this practice, these ways of connecting each other emotionally, and to build the emotional intimacy, and we'll be able to make it. Okay? Emotional intimacy allows couples to share their hearts and acquire the sense of being best friends. When you are emotional intimacy is in place, we will share our hearts. We will be able to be so tight that we will be known, and we will also know. We are making ourselves being known, and we are also knowing about our spouse, and we will be able to be best friends. We'll be so connected. We'll be great buddies. And guess what? Best friends always work together. Intimacy and friendship are nurtured. They will allow a couple to regain strength in their marriage when there are difficulties. Okay? When intimacy and friendship are nurtured, when we are intimate with one another, when emotional intimacy is right there, when friendship is right in there, when we are affectionate with one another, let me tell you, when struggles come, we'll be able to overcome and be able to regain strength and move on in our marriage. The safety and trust experienced through commitment, coupled with the emotional connection and shared expressions of emotional intimacy, couples have an opportunity and hopefully a desire to a shared passionate experience. Your marriage experience will be passionate, will be exciting, will be nice, because you're not only committed, you are not only in a marriage. No, you're emotionally connected. You are buddies, you are friends, you are affectionate to one another, and so you build it up. So you have an opportunity to be able to have a very, very passionate experience shared between you. Thank you very much for listening and learning together. May God bless your intimacy. Right now, before we finish completely, we will go to the groups. Sorry, no, not the groups, but with our spouses, and be able to and be able to discuss with our spouses.
Yeah.
And that will be it.
Yes, we have to remember that it takes work and intentionality to build emotional intimacy. We have to work at it. We have to be willing. And we have some questions here for discussion. How are you treating your spouse's vulnerability on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least and 10 being the excellent one? Does your tone invite your spouse to be deep and real? What can you do to make the situation better? Let us take some 10 minutes and discuss these 3 questions. It will help us to work on our emotional intimacy, to know each other better. And let us continue. As we have said, emotional intimacy really is a need for women. more than men, but all of us, we have to work at it.
Thank you very much. So let's discuss with our spouses. You and your spouse, please discuss. If you are alone, please just figure out these questions and let's pray about them. And then when we finish, the 10 minutes will be over. We'll go back to the facilitator. Thank you very much, and may God bless you. So I will leave the questions there just in case you need to refer to them. Thank you.